Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a double up game that I'm doing here together with Headwinder. In this game, we're going to be looking at the B team composition. It is a Honeymancer reroll game. Turns out that Honeymancers are actually pretty good in this patch, and I've been hoping to get some footage of it, and we're going to take this game and put it up on YouTube because it turned into a very close, very exciting game, and I was happy with how it played out. All right, so as far as the different options here on the portals, none of these are that bad. I've gone over to Golden Gala, which I think would be fine to just get all golden augments. As it turns out, we're going to end up getting a slightly different one. We end up getting the Overachievers one, which was Headwinder's pick. This means that some of the stronger charms will show up earlier in the game. As far as I can tell, it doesn't seem to have too big of an outcome in terms of how the game plays out. It's certainly not as disruptive as some of the other portals. All right, well, we are getting close to the midway point of TFT set 12. Most of the set's been dominated by reroll compositions. This patch, not especially much. It turns out that this patch has been more dominated by people getting +1 to a particular trait. There's a whole bunch of team compositions that get much stronger in this particular patch if you can get +1 to certain emblems. So +1 Witchcraft, +1 Portal, +1 Fairy, +1 Frost. Any of these can make a kind of like a normal board into a really, really strong board. But something else that's also popped up in this patch is Honeymancer, and in particular Honeymancer reroll. That is because the Honeymancer trait was actually reworked in this set. Or not in this set, in this particular patch. We were kind of at like the midway point of this patch, and a whole bunch of stuff ended up getting reworked in this one, and Honeymancer the trait was actually changed around a bit. Now, I was considering potentially playing the Honeymancer board because I do have some of the pieces of it, and interestingly enough, you also look to not go heavy vertical Honeymancer. You typically now play 3 Honeymancer. You play the 2 frontline units, and then Ziggs is the main carry. And I was thinking of playing it right now because I was looking around. Didn't really look like anyone else was playing Honeymancers, and I do have kind of a decent start for it. I would like a few more Blitzcranks and Ziggs to play here, but I do have kind of a decent start for it. I certainly have enough items over here. And then out of the options, I see that I have this Featherweights. Your tier 1 and tier champs gain 15% attack speed and move speed. That's a very good augment to have if you're going to be playing this because it is a 1 and 2 cost reroll. I also did think about taking the random emblem. You can see I was hovering on this for a while. I could take an emblem and then just try to play around whatever the emblem was, but ultimately I decided I would go for this. And part of the reason why is Headwinder was actually able to send me a 2-star Ziggs. This would actually end up being kind of a consistent theme throughout this game is at least early on, Headwinder was the one who was hitting all of the various B units. He was actually hitting them more than I was, but we thought that we decided we'd go ahead and have me play the board because I had that Featherweights option. Alrighty, so out of the items here, I want to try to make a blue buff for Ziggs. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I also want to make I also thought I would go ahead and make a Crown Guard. It's a pretty good item, especially on Nunu. It's not quite as good on Blitz, but it's still a pretty good item. And I wanted to get some kind of frontline item here so I could play this board. I also am getting some of the other pieces to play this. Now, this is not going to be especially strong early on. The biggest issue is I only have 1-star frontliners. Ideally, I'd have like a 2-star Blitzcrank at this point in time. I don't have that. So it's going to be a little bit weak before then. And I also have some components left over that I don't really want necessarily. The bow could be used potentially for a Gnasher's Tooth, which is a pretty good item on Ziggs. But I would really like to get a blue buff for him on him, if at all possible. So we'll have to see what we can do there. As far as the way that this board works, so in some of the earlier patches, you would play the Honeymancer units and like try to play around Vhagar, because Vhagar and mages were pretty strong in some of the other patches. Not so much in this patch now. The mage trait was nerfed in this patch. Vhagar got a really big nerf that made him completely useless, and then they actually released a B patch almost immediately after this came out that made Vhagar at least playable, if not good. But he's still not a strong unit. This is just not a good patch for mages, so it's better not to try to play through the Vhagar. Instead, it's actually the Ziggs that has emerged as the unit that you look to play through when you're playing a Honeymancer board. So it's the 3 Honeymancers that are on the board right now. You want the Blitzcrank and the Ziggs. You play them for frontline, and ideally you'd try to 3-star both of them because this is a reroll build. And then Ziggs is the main carry. By the way, this looks like it's going to be a perfect loss. Ziggs, can he actually kill the Namzi? No. Namzi's going to get her cast off first. But that's a close fight, and that's a great loss. Like, that's fine. To lose a round like that is perfectly fine. Now, the other units that you play on this board, it's basically a variation of the old Ahri reroll board, but instead of playing Zoe, you play the Ziggs instead. So we are still going to look to play Poppy on this board, and we're going to look to play Ahri on this board too. But the core of the build is the 3 Honeymancer units, so Blitzcrank, Nunu, and Ziggs. You play the 3 of them. You also play Poppy because she will provide Bastion trait for the Blitzcrank. And then you also will play Cassiopeia because she will make both Witchcraft trait with the Poppy and make Incanter trait that goes along with Ziggs. So that's a nice little trait web there. You get 3 Honeymancer, 2 Bastion, 2 Incanter, 2 Witchcraft if you play those 5 units. So those are the initial core units, and then after that, the build just goes into Arcana. So try to get Ahri, try to get Hecarim, try to get Tahm Kench, and try to get Xerath. And so the build is very straightforward. It's very simple, but the trick is always trying to get all of the units 3-starred. Now, I lost the first 2 rounds. Usually when you lose the first 2 rounds, you're in a position where you're going to be getting an early pick off the carousel. But I win the 3rd round, and then apparently we have enough health that I'm actually last pick on the carousel. So that's a bit disappointing. I was hoping to get a tier to make blue buff. That's not available. I was hoping to get a belt so that I could maybe make a Gnasher's Tooth. That is also not available. So I will take the glove because I can, maybe if I get a rod, I can do Jeweled Gauntlet, and this does give me another Ahri, who is a unit that will eventually be played. That said, Ahri does not get played early on this board. Ahri is the 6th unit in, so it's not a unit that you're going to play early on the board, but I might as well grab Ahri's while I'm at it. I could always put her on the board if I need to. Over on Headwinder's board, he's playing a Witchcraft opener. Again, you might notice he is hitting the B units that I am not finding, so I'm not having great luck finding these. I'll also go ahead and use this item remover to put the Crown Guard on Poppy for the moment. And the reason for that is Poppy's a 2-star unit. I only have 1-star Blitz and 1-star Nunu. I'll put it on Poppy. I would not have done that in earlier patches, but this patch was noteworthy because it increased the availability of item removers. You get an item remover at the end of every stage now if you don't already have an item remover. So I will be getting an item remover, and I can pop that off the Poppy and move it to Blitzcrank or Nunu if I get the opportunity to 3-star them, and I certainly hope that I will. So I'm leaning on all of these units. Headwinder's been doing a really good job of finding the B units that I personally am not finding for my board. You see, he just hit a 2-star Nunu, so he can look to send that to me, although I think he's going to play it for the time being. But you can see he's actually hitting the B units over there. He's also hit a 2-star Cassiopeia, which is also a unit I want to play on my board. So I was like, Headwinder, maybe you should have just been the one to play this. But he was a really good sport, and he's going to play the Witchcraft, and then he's going to look to switch into basically whatever he hits from there. So as I said, I lost the first 2 rounds. I have actually won the next 2 rounds since then. And I really was not expecting my board to win. Typically, you're loss streaking when you're playing a reroll comp early on. It's just these boards tend to be weak early on. So I'm really not expecting to win any of these early rounds. But I did win the last 2, and Headwinder's going to come over, and with his help, I can maybe win this. It's pretty close. I think I still win that anyway. But with his help, I actually win, and I get to 30 gold, which is quite nice on the miniature win streak. So I don't really know how I was winning those rounds, but I was. Sadly, I've been seeing Cogmalls in my store, and Cogmall is not a B unit that you actually want to have on this board. And there I get the 2-star Nunu, so I'm going to go ahead and transfer that Crown Guard over to Nunu as soon as I get the item remover. Also puts me up to 4 Nunu. So just to recap here, I've been sent a 2-star Nunu, and I've been sent a 2-star Ziggs from Headwinder. I have found 1 Nunu and 1 Ziggs myself. He is finding all of the units for me. Anyway, so you see the Cogmal there. You might think, well, you're playing bees. Why not pick up the Cogmal? Again, I am not going to play this unit. And the main reason is he just doesn't fit the board at all. And the other reason is you just don't get very much by playing deeper into the Honeymancer trait. Going from 3 to 5 gives you very, very little benefit. And then once again, I get another Cogmal there. I was like, geez, okay. But you just don't get much of a benefit from doing that, unfortunately. And I'm going to send the Nico over there to Headwinder because he's playing Witchcraft units, and that'll be helpful for his board. All right, while we have a second here, let's try to go ahead and cover specifically what these units do, because I mentioned that Ziggs is the featured unit in this game, and I want to go ahead and highlight specifically what he does. So his traits are Honeymancer plus Invoker. The Invoker doesn't really play that much into this, but the Honeymancer certainly does. Here's Ziggs' official ability. It's called Bouncing Bee. Like it's his bouncing bomb, his Q from League of Legends, but it's called Bouncing Bee here. Throw a bouncing bomb at the farthest enemy. The bomb explodes on the first enemy target. On the first enemy hit, deals magic damage to the target and area effect damage to all nearby enemies. It does full damage to the first target hit, deals a half damage splash to the nearby targets. You can see I've made went ahead and made a Gnasher's Tooth there. Somehow, once again, I win the round, even though I'm level 4. I'm not really sure how this is happening, but I'll take it. So Ziggs is pretty straightforward. He has relatively low mana cost. He has mana cost of 40. So you really do want a blue buff on him if possible, because it drops his mana cost to 30. And by the way, I have a tough choice here. Second Augment's Prismatic. I really was thinking, do I want New Recruit or Prismatic Ticket? New Recruit would be really nice. It would let me play an additional unit, and it also gets me the Duplicator. But then I also have the option to take the, what is it called? The Prismatic Ticket. Every time you refresh the shop, you have 45% odds to get another shop refresh. By the way, I actually lose gold on this charm. The charm is pay 2 gold, roll the dice, and then you get whatever the die result is. There's only 1 in 6 odds to lose gold on that. The odds are 4 out of 6 to gain and 1 out of 6 to stay the same. So I actually lose a gold coin there, but you got to go for that when you see it. Unless you're trying to go for a combat power, you got to go for that charm, because it's almost always going to result in a gold increase, or at least no gold change. Anyway, though, so I took the Prismatic Ticket. So this is the rerolling augment. I have confirmed by looking at the lobby, no one else is rolling for B units, even though I am having poor luck in hitting the B units thus far. With Prismatic Ticket and no one else playing these units, I am basically guaranteed that I'm going to hit them in this game. Plus, Headwinder is grabbing some of them to send over me as well. So I had to take the Prismatic Ticket, even though I really would have liked the +1 team size, and I would have happily taken the New Recruit, because it also came with a Duplicator, which is really good for this. I think that Prismatic Ticket was probably the best fit that I could have here. So you can see I'm going to be doing my best to reroll here. I'm actually hitting the poppies reasonably well. I'm a little bit further off on the Ziggs. I also might get some decent charms here. Remember, more powerful charms can show up in the shop earlier, but we want to take our time. There's no need to rush. We're not competing with anyone else for these units, so we can take our time. 6 poppies, 6 poppies, 5 Nunus, 5 Ziggses, and also 4 Aries. Again, I actually want to play Cassiopeia on my board, as I said before. Cassiopeia is the unit that makes Invoker trait and also a Witchcraft trait, but I have not found any of them yet in this game. And somehow I'm still win streaking, even though my board should be relatively weak at this stage of the game. Until I actually hit my 3 stars, I should be in a fairly weak position. Somehow I'm still winning these rounds, so I can't really complain too much about that. Can Ziggs survive? If he can survive to get his damage off, we can still win this fight. He's very, very low, but Ziggs survives on 2% HP. So somehow I have won 6 rounds in a row. I really should not have won 6 rounds in a row at this stage of the game. But I think a lot of players are just going very, very heavy econ at the moment. And that's allowing me to play this board that's not actually that strong itself. But, you know, people are greeting for econ, so I'll take it here. By the way, I'd really like the Tom Kent. That would be nice to find that unit, but that's not there. I would still like a tier. I really want to make a blue buff on the Ziggs, but that's not there as an option. I also would have liked the Rod, but that's not there as an option either. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I could take another glove and make a Thief's Glove, but again, I think I can do better than make a Thief's Glove here. I'm going to go ahead, take the vest. I'm going to look to make a Steadfast Heart, which I think would be a pretty good tank item here. So we'll go ahead and buy the cheap charm to gain 1 gold. And now is a gift round, so I'm going to get the chance to pull something here from a component anvil. I want a tier. Is a tier an option? No, it is not. So we'll go ahead and make Jeweled Gauntlet. I'm reasonably pleased with that. Now I just need to get 1 tier. 2 Blitzcranks showing up is super nice there. And now finally Cassiopeia appears. Now the downside is I'm about out of bench space here, so I will continue rolling. It would be really nice to hit some of these units. So I'm going to have to pick and choose which units I buy. And well, we'll do the best we can. Obviously, I want to 3-star as many of these units as possible, but the most important units are the B units. I would say that Ziggs and Nunu probably have the top priority, followed by Blitzcrank. The Poppy is not as important, but I am also closer on the Poppy, and then I could sell some of the Aries. Cassiopeia is not terribly important. The Ari is not terribly important either, but better to have them than not have them. Anyway, my board definitely got stronger there because I was able to make the the Jeweled Gauntlet for Ziggs, and I was able to make the Steadfast Heart for Nunu, so I definitely got stronger there. And I'm continuing to make progress towards hitting my 3 stars. Headwinder's continuing to hold additional units. We're actually still win streaking here. Again, I don't know how my board has been win streaking here, but I'll certainly take it. Now I could just get another tier so I can make a blue buff here. I've had a sword on my bench the whole game, which I can use for Shojin if I don't find a tier, but I'm really hoping I can find at least one tier at some point in time in this game. I had a tier on the first minion round. I was a little unfortunate I couldn't pull one from the component anvil. There's also another Ziggs. That's 6 Ziggs. So if Headwinder hits one more Ziggs, that's the Ziggs 3-star over there. So we'll keep rolling here. Again, we get so many free rerolls. It's really nice. Reroll your shop with all 2 costs. Okay, I was hoping for Nunu there. I completely whiff. Nunu, Ari, Cassiopeia would all be good. All right, that gets me to 6 Aries. Okay, so I'll stop rolling there. I've been hitting the Aries pretty good, which is good to be hitting the Aries, but again, I don't actually play Ari until level 6, and I cannot go to level 6 until I finish hitting, at the very least, the Ziggs. I'd like to hit Ziggs and Blitzcrank, but at the bare minimum, I need to hit the Ziggs. Poppy would also be nice, but is not as crucial. All right, so can I win one more round and extend my win streak out to the minion stage? That would be really nice. It's worth a lot of econ if I can do that. We're up against this board here, and it looks like we've got this. Okay, so we've actually managed to go win streak through all of stage 3 despite not having a single 3-star, which is pretty wild. But yeah, apparently I was able to do that, and we've banked an awful lot of health here too, which is really nice for later on in the game. It's always good to have that extra HP. All right, I've got the send back here, so I can look to send something to Headwinder. I'm trying to see if there's anything he wants here. There's 2 more Ziggs. I was like, can you send me your Ziggs? He had 2 out of 3 Ziggs. I asked if he could send me the 1-star Ziggs because that will allow me to get this. Unfortunately, though, I don't have the bench space for it, which is really annoying, so I have to sell a Blitzcrank for that. And then I also find a Gwen in the store, which is good because he's playing some warriors over there with his Witchcraft board. I also still have another free reroll, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. At least I got the Blitzcrank back again. I actually have another free reroll here, but I don't know if I even have time to get this off. I think I didn't even end up using that. So there's another Poppy here. I'm gonna send the whatchamacallit over the Gwen over there, excuse me. So now I'm still trying to buy some of these units here. I'm trying to roll down because I'd like to hit some of these. Now I'm on 7 Poppies, so I really want to pick up this Poppy here. And the only thing I can logically sell is a Blitzcrank. I mean, it stinks to have to do that. And then look, I get a Blitzcrank. And then I get another Blitzcrank. And then another Blitzcrank. I was like, and then another Blitzcrank, and then another Blitzcrank. I was like, oh my God, why? Why do the Blitzes all have to pop up when I have no bench space for them? Unbelievable. If that Blitz had popped up 1 round earlier, I would have had it combined into a 2-star. So I do manage to get a bunch of champions here, but I could have had the 3-star Blitzcrank there really easily. And then there's another Nunu, so I got to sell something. I was like, man, I'm on 8 Aries, 8 Poppies right now. Can I like hit one of these units? Ultimately, I go ahead and sell one of the Poppies. But yeah, I'm on 8 Nunus, I'm on 8 Aries, I had 8 Poppies. I'm like, can I just hit one of these units? Also, with Headwinder's help, my win streak's going to continue there. And then now we have another Prismatic. I really do not want a Prismatic Augment here. Most of the stuff is not really that useful. So I just take Giant and Mighty, which is going to give my team additional health across the board. That's like never a bad option. Yeah, I could have had some more Cassiopeias earlier on, but wasn't really an option. There we go. There's the Poppy. So now we can look to go ahead and level. I'll go ahead and level to level, level 6. And so now I can put the Ari on the board. So I ended up not being able to pick up those Blitzcranks, which was really frustrating because they were in my store, but I didn't have the bench space. I just got a huge run of Blitzcranks at a point in time where I didn't have bench space to hold them. But I have hit Poppy 3, Nunu 3, Ziggs 3, and then I have 8 Aries, so I'm basically guaranteed to hit the Ari. Now I need to get to level 7 and put in another Arcana unit because the Arcana Selector will go on Ari, and then that will give me additional AP for the whole team based on how many 3-star units I have in. All right, we're also up against this person who is also doing 1-cost reroll, and apparently they're doing multi-striker 1-cost reroll. So the question is just, can Nunu stand up there long enough to tank for us? And the answer is no, apparently. Even though I thought I was going to win that fight at first, it looks like the Runen's Hurricane Bolts flew through and hit my back line, and ultimately I ended up losing. So win streak eventually came to a close. A bit unfortunate there. So there's the Ari. So now I've kind of got almost everything I could want. And I'm looking to see if Headwinder wants any of this stuff, but I don't think any of this fits his board. He does have 2 out of 3 blitzes. If he manages to hit a 2-star Blitzcrank, I'm not as far off as it might look like, even though I only have 4 blitzes, but he might be able to get me 3 more of them, potentially. All right, so yeah, more Cogmalls, more Vigors. There's a Blitz. I'll at least pick that up. I'm getting a lot of free rerolls here on this particular turn, so I'll keep using the free rerolls as long as they're there. Again, every time I refresh, it's 45% odds to get another free refresh. Again, the danger to this is it is a non-combat augment, so it's a prismatic that doesn't do anything to make my board stronger. It just gives me the additional reroll, so that can be a little bit dangerous in a way. Biggest issue for me is I just need to get up to a higher level, because like I have all these 3 stars, but I'm not benefiting from the extra ability power that comes from Arcana trait, so I need to do that down the road. And I might as well pick up Cassiopeia, as it does take me to 5. Like if I had enough bench space, I was a little unlucky in the sequencing that it just took me forever to get my first 3 stars and the bench space wasn't there. With a little bit more luck, I might have been able to hit some of these. All right, well, I really want a tier. Remember, I've been trying to make blue buff since the very start of the game. Can I potentially get a tier here? I also have some leftover items sitting on my bench that I would not mind turning into something. Of course, immediately literally immediately the tier gets grabbed. They seem to be in super high priority in this lobby. And once again, I am still last pick once again in this lobby. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do with some of these items here. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and take the Tarek. I already have a belt on my bench. I can use this for another belt. I can look to make a Warmogs, and I can maybe put that on Nunu. There is some synergy between that and the, was it the augment that I took? I mean, you could say, because it does give me health, and then there's additional, you get additional max health from that. Probably not as good as getting armor and MR from something, but this definitely makes my front line a bit tankier, so I'm pretty pleased with this. And then I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with the sword or the glove. Maybe I could do another steadfast heart or something. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. Now I just need to find like a Hecarim to get on my board. But again, we have so much health, there's no need to rush here. I can just continue to make progress towards level 7 and then try to get up to level 8 and put in some more Arcana units, which would be the thing that would make my board stronger. All right, so you might say, well, why? You could also look to play more B units. Why not try to go up to like 5 Honeymancer or something? And the reason for that is the Honeymancer trait, after they reworked it, really it does not get much stronger when you go up to Honeymancer 3, or up to Honeymancer 5, excuse me. By the way, I actually got run over by that board, and that was the first round I've lost badly in this match so far. So here's what the official description does as far as the Honeymancer trait. It was changed in this most recent patch. It says Honeymancers gain 5 Bs. So this is different. Before you got more Bs as you played deeper into the trait. Now you always have 5 Bs. The Bs deal magic damage to their target every 3 seconds. Each Bee deals damage based on the damage a Honeymancer deals and takes. So they do, whoever your Bee units are targeting, they deals damage every 3 seconds based on how much damage you've dealt and how much damage you've taken. By the way, there's going to be a 2-star Blitz coming over from Headwinder, so if I can find one more, I'll have the 3-star Blitz. Anyway, as a result, it's quite good to, you want to have both like strong damage on some of your B units, because as they deal damage, it gets reflected back from the Bs, but also as they take damage, it gets reflected too. So having like a really tanky Nunu actually helps a lot as well, though once again, this fight does not go well. Headwinder's going to come over, but yeah, he only has 1 unit there, so it's not quite going to be enough. Again, this is not surprising. I need to get Arcana trait in. I'm also only level 6. That person was level 8 with +1 team size, so they had 9 units to my 6. A little bit lopsided there. Again, I just need to get up to like level 8 and play more Arcana units. So anyway, you no longer get more Bs from playing deeper into the trait. What you do is the damage dealt and damage taken goes up. At Honeymancer 3, it's 6% of damage dealt. You deal to the target every 3 seconds. Also 3% of damage taken. So 6% dealt, 3% taken. At Honeymancer 5, that only goes up from 6% to 8% on damage dealt and from 3% to 4% on damage taken. Then it like explodes to some crazy number on Honeymancer 7 because that requires 2 emblems. But like you just get very, very little from going up to Honeymancer 5, so there's just not much reason to do that. By the way, once again, I get no tier on this round, and I did not get a tier out of my anvil either, so I was like, well, I guess it's no blue buff for me. It's a good thing I held a sword good thing I held that sword literally the entire game so that I could make a Spear of Shojin. I really wanted the blue buff, but there wasn't much I could do. I was never able to get a tier off Carousel. It never dropped on the minion round. And in addition to that, it just wasn't there. I pulled 2 component anvils. It wasn't there either time. Every time you pull a component anvil, it's 50-50 odds to get a specific component. I'll also put these items on Poppy for right now. And I've made sure to pick the Arcana selector on Ari. So now that I have Arcana trait in, Ari's specific ability is it gives AP to the entire team based on how many 3-star units you have. I think I have 4 of them at the moment. Let's see. I have Poppy, Nunu, Ari, and Ziggs. Yes, I have 4 of them at the moment. So I'll have to look up specifically how much AP that is. I believe it's 10 AP flat and then another 5 per 3-star. At Arcana 2. I believe that that's right. So I think I'm getting 30 AP for the whole team, if I'm remembering this correctly. And then I also have the send back up again. So I'd be happy to send something over there. I do have this Camille, which is a possibility for a send. So I think I'm asking Headwinder, does he want this? It's not something I can particularly use on my board. I just want more Arcana traits so that I get more of a benefit from leveling. I think he told me to hold on to it for the time being, and then maybe it would be useful later on, but nope, actually he said no, he doesn't need the Camille. So Headwinder is playing into warriors at the moment. He was able to get +1 warrior for his last augment, so now he's looking to play 6 warriors, which is going to be pretty strong. So he's playing through like Gwen and Fiora, and I believe he turns Briar into a warrior as well, which obviously should be pretty good. Almost any emblem is pretty good on Briar. This round, I'm getting my Ziggs jumped on by the Nami tidal wave. It's close, but then I get reinforced on. So I think I beat this person without getting reinforced on, but once they come over there, it's not enough, which is a shame because that team's on 1 HP. I really would have liked to have done 1 more point of damage and knock them out. By the way, there's another Cassiopeia, so that's 7. And I'll be able to go 8 next round, and I'll roll a little bit. What I would really like to find is a Tahm Kench and a Xerath. They are both arcane units. Tahm Kench would allow me to get Vanguard trait in, because like right now Hecarim's giving me Arcana, but he's not doing anything else. If I could get Tahm Kench in, he would actually give Vanguard trait to the Blitzcrank, and in addition to that, Xerath would just give me another unit I could play through. I could put additional items on the Xerath as well. So I'm reasonably happy with how my board looks. Again, it has fallen off a little bit because we're getting to the late game, and these prismatic, it's actually kind of bad we had the double prismatics because they inject a lot of power into the lobby. And this is a team comp that is a little bit on the lower power side. So I end up losing to this board, which again, I kept being a little surprised I kept losing to that. I think it was the Tiny But Deadly just caused me a lot of problems. That's a multi-striker board playing through Ashe and Kassadin and Jax, which is really weird. That's definitely not a meta comp either. But it seems to be working out for them. All right, now here's some good news. I'm actually first pick on a carousel. We had one of the teams get knocked out, and because I've been losing a couple rounds, for once, I actually get to pick first. I'm usually picking last on these carousels. But I'm able to get a Tahm Kench, and there's also a Thief's Glove here, and I'm really, really happy with this because that way I can replace the... I can go to level 8, I can play Tahm Kench and Hecarim, and then I can put the Thief's Glove on someone else, probably the Blitzcrank, because I need more frontline here, especially if I can get one more Blitz here somewhere. I'd be pretty happy with that. All right, so your High Arcana champion gains 20% down. I guess I could have taken that. But this is the gift round, and boom, there's the Blitzcrank. So now it's an easy call to put the Thief's Glove on the Blitzcrank. That's going to make my front line a lot stronger. I mean, a lot stronger. We also have a gift round here. I'm going to take 2 full items, and I was like, okay, these aren't that bad. Now, if I can just find a Xerath here, I really am looking for a Xerath right now. And I actually find it, so that's a high roll for sure. But that's really big because this now gives me another unit to play through. Xerath is like another actual damage dealer. And then I find a Briar, so I can send that over to Headwinder because this is a unit that I believe he wants to play. And then I can look to decide if I want to roll more or if I want to try to go to... yeah, he has a Briar on his bench, so I believe I send him this one on the next round, and he puts a warrior emblem on it, as I already kind of telegraphed before. All right, now my team gets 55 AP. It's 15 flat and then 8 per 3-star. Well, now I have 5 3-stars, So yeah, I'm getting what is it, the flat, and then I get the 15 flat, and then I get another 40 AP from having 5 3-star units over there. So 55 AP to the whole team is pretty wild. That's a lot of AP. We also were able to knock out the team that was in third place. So now it's down to just us and this other team. So we've got a duel going on here. 29 HP against 25 HP. It's pretty close. Headwinder had these different options. He decided he wanted to fish for the 5-cost champ. He was looking for one of these 5-cost champs. I can't remember which one he was looking for. So he goes for that. I believe he didn't get the one he was looking for. And then I hit the Tompkins 2-star. So I believe I stopped rolling here. And I was, maybe I did roll a little bit more. I thought that I stopped here because I wanted to get to level 9 and then get the Hecarim in. Because the Hecarim would be really, really powerful if I could get 4 Arcana in for my board. Plus, reroll, like, what am I really going to do on a reroll here? I guess I could try to hit the cast 3-star. But like Cassiopeia 3-star is not going to do that much. Now I'm up against this. This is the tiny but deadly board. And I was hoping that I was now strong enough to beat this board. I just need my front line to hold up long enough to kill them over there. And it looks like now my front line is strong enough with the addition of that Blitzcrank over there. So I am going to win this round. And can I get over here to Headwinder's board? It looks like this is a close match. Just in time. He was just about to lose. Now, he had the tougher of the 2 boards. The board that he was fighting is the stronger of the 2, from what I've seen. And that's because that other board is it's a Preserver 5 board. So Preserver is the trait that gives a lot of additional mana regen, or health regen and mana regen. By the way, look at this. I do manage to hit the 2-star Hecarim, so that's nice. Now the plan is just get to level 9 and play the Hecarim. I hope that I can get there. I need 70-ish gold to get there, 72 gold. So it's going to be tricky to get there, but I have to try. So the other board is the tougher board. It has Preserver 5, which gives to team just immense amounts of health regen. And if they're at full health, they get mana regen. So really, really, really a lot of health regen. And there is one big weakness. I'm actually going to take this. If you win your next player conflict, get 10 gold. I thought that this was a worthwhile gamble because this will make it much easier to get to level 9. If I don't get there, it only costs 2 gold. So what the heck? But the one thing I'm missing is I need a heal cut. I do not have a way to reduce healing on my board. And I was thinking about selling the Cassiopeia, but selling it only gets me to 47 gold. And that would not have been enough to get me another amount of interest on an interest break point. So I was like, all right, I'll just leave this alone. But this board just has immense amounts of healing on it. So I really need a heal cut. And that's why I grabbed the Morellos there. Xerath is pretty good about applying it. But, I mean, it's not ideal because he doesn't get his ult off until 10 seconds into the fight. But I need a heal cut of some kind. I cannot beat this board without it. And, in fact, it looks like I can't beat this board anyway. This is the stronger of the 2 boards, and it's going to beat me. And then Headwinder looks like he already lost the other round. So we continue to be very tightly locked on health here. So remember how we were like both at 25? Now we're at 7, and they're at 7 as well. And they were actually at 9, but they just fed their Briar. So very, very close. Again, I need 68 gold to level here. And I am on 49 gold, so I don't have quite enough. So this is, again, really, really close here. And Headwinder can go ahead and feed the Briar because it really doesn't matter if we're at 7 HP or 5 HP. Yeah, so he's going to go ahead. Both teams are playing the Briar. It's really important. Now, if we double win this round, we'll knock them down to 1. But if they double win this round, they'll knock us down to 1. And then if we each win one side of the matchup, then both of our teams will be at 1 hit point. Now, I have the weaker of the 2 boards. This is the tiny but deadly board. So it's important that I win this round because the other board, the Preserver board, is the stronger of the 2. So this one's going to be close, but it looks like I was able to win. Now, can I get over to Headwinder in time? No, just barely not enough. So, oh boy. 1 hit point to 1 hit point. Oh boy. Gonna come down to the last round of the game. So I need to get to level 9. I am gonna sell the Cassiopeias. And if I sell the Cassiopeias, I'm at 67. I need 68 to level. I was like, Headwinder, just send me anything. Send me literally any champ. So he sends me a Vhagar. I sell it for 3 gold. That's enough to get the Hecarim on the board. So I was hoping maybe I could buy a charm that costs 0 gold. I can't do that. So I can't do a charm this round. But I think getting a 2-star Hecarim on the board is the better option here. So, okay. I've got the 4 Arcana in. Now my AP has gone up to 80 ability power for the whole team 20 flat, and then 12 per 3-star, so that's 20 plus 60. I've got the Preserver board, but I do have an extra unit on there, and I have way more AP on my whole team. So this is going to be close. I'm hoping I can win this. Xerath got off a really nice ult. He's cutting into that healing. I think I would narrowly lose this fight, but oh, look at this. Headwinder is here. The cavalry's arrived. And that's going to be enough to win this match. Very, very close match. So I'm going to type GG close. I thought the other team played a really good game, but then, of course, this guy has to ruin it by typing something really nasty in the chat that I'm not going to read. But in any case, we were able to win this game and take the first place finish in a really exciting lobby. Now, afterwards, it looked like the loading screen here bugged out. Yeah, see, the loading screen ends up bugging out. So I will just go ahead and splice in a picture of the results from one of the third-party websites. Overall, I really enjoyed doing this game. I actually did a previous B game, and I actually went through all the trouble of recording it. But it wasn't as good of a game as this one, so I'll maybe put that up as an unlisted video on YouTube. If people want to go check that out, they can probably find it from the playlist. This game was much better. This was a game that was more of like what you'd want the Honeymancer reroll board to look like. I was able to hit all the key 3-stars, and then with a lot of help from Headwinder, we put the board together, and plus 80 AP. Plus 80 AP for the whole team was pretty nice. I think that was enough to seal the deal. All right, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a great week, folks. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.